Okay. So,
AC, DC, all the electricity goes into this control panel, and that's what we're covering in this
Yeah.
quarter for this class.
we are talking about how we control machines with angry pixies.
Angry, angry pixies. That's a good way of describing. I guess what is essentially electrons.
Yeah.
Electrons are angry pixies in this case. But yeah, we're going to be covering in this class, and you should watch the mechanical system
Yeah.
build intro first, because that gives you a lot of information how you should use these videos. But
Yeah.
we'll take that as read here. We're just going to talk really briefly here,
Yeah.
kind of give you an overview of what this course is about.
Yeah.
We're doing a build, and that build involves a control enclosure. Big cabinet.
It's going to gather all of like the control signals and all of the electrical and pneumatic components for the system into
Yeah.
one kind of unified box where it's all organized and managed.
All organized and managed. So all of your wires, all of your wiring is done within this box, and then to things that run outside of the box, and we have to do certain things when it transitions from inside to outside. You're going to be doing that on as your build, so you're going to need to know how to wire things up. You're going to need to know how DC electricity works, how AC electricity works, and we're going to be working with both of these. So it's not just going to like end with Ohm's law. We're going to go deeper into that. We're
Yeah.
going to go into how one determines what reading you should get when you put a voltmeter to it.
And we're also going to talk about things like the types of components that are used to in control systems when they're working with electricity. And so that can be things from like circuit protection, but that can also be things that implement control, like contactors or relays, or solenoid valves. The control panel is really where a lot of the is where the electrical and the mechanical and physical side of things really come together with like logical control.
Because that's where the computer lives.
That's where the computer lives, or that's where your PLC lives.
Yeah.
And so the control panel, they exist. They are one of the most ubiquitous types of things that you will see in any mechatronic system, particularly in industry, is that there's some type of control panel somewhere.
You've likely already seen ones on some piece of
Yeah.
machinery that you've
Yeah.
used.
Every machine that you guys had that you worked with in your first quarter all had basic control panels associated with them. They were just broken out in front of you.
Yeah, they were just out in the open on the bar. The only difference here is we're putting them in a little bit of a cabinet.
Yeah. And when you're doing that, there are considerations that have to be made for how you organize those cabinets, what types of components you put in a cabinet versus one type of cabinet, or next to in proximity to certain types of equipment, and things that you don't. Those are standards. We will talk about the
We
standards.
will talk about the standards around those.
Yeah.
The things you have to do for safety around electricity,
Yeah.
because we're working with 24 volts, and
Working with 120 volts. We're working with stuff that can bite you.
yeah, this is going to be, we have to have safety in mind when we're working
Yeah.
with these voltages. We're going to cover a bit of that, in addition to expanding on our knowledge of DC circuits, expanding on our knowledge of AC circuits. We're going to talk a lot more about capacitance and inductance, and we're going to talk a lot more about how AC is different, and it's a lot different.
Yeah. And it has, and because it's different, there again, you'll see the types of components that interact with AC will look different than the types of components that are for DC.
Mhm.
And being able to recognize like things from where it's appropriate to use certain components and where it's not.
Right,
And
absolutely.
That also is going to come into play with wire management is going to be a big deal here. Like a cabinet is a confined space. And so being efficient with wiring, being efficient with how you lay a panel out, that's also going to come into play for this class.
Yeah.
So,
So,
is there anything else here? I think the only other thing will be is We might touch on some topics, some aspects of digital versus analog control as it pertains to like how you organize signals inside of a cabinet versus power and
Yeah,
those types of things.
we'll deal with a little bit of signal stuff
Yeah.
as well. It's kind of an offshoot, and it's going to be kind of a shared wall between that and the programming class, where
Yeah.
you're going to be dealing with those signals from a programming
So-
aspect. Here, we're going to have to talk about how you route those
Yeah.
signals.
So in some of our content this quarter for this class and for the industrial programming class, this crossover point when it comes to signals, we might kind of like abruptly stop in some of our lecture content and say like this is going to be handled in the industrial programming class, or it's like this part you handle in the AC side of this or in the panel side of this equation, right?
Yeah, and so like there are lots of crossover stuff. The thing that you have to keep in mind is that none of the things that we deal with are in silos.
Yeah,
This is just how it is.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have to put them one of two places, and we're just going to kind of figure out where that mushy dividing line is. But it's not a hard dividing line.
No, in reality, like if you're working in a panel, you're inherently working with control and you're working with power and
Yeah.
you're working with kind of everything simultaneously. So
like just keep in mind we work hard to try and make it make sense by cutting up our subject matter.
yeah, so that it's compartmentalized and deliverable in a way that it's not totally overwhelming all the time.
Yeah, totally overwhelming all the time. Exactly, because it is.
Yeah.
If you don't have a little bit of methodology and a little bit of ways of dividing things up.
Yeah.
But in the actual reality, once you've assimilated all this information, it is boundaryless between what is AC and what is mechanical.
And what is AC and mechanical versus control? Like
Yeah.
it all kind of comes together and it exists in this amorphous kind of like primordial soup of mechatronics knowledge that you just have to navigate and and use in the correct context, and that's essentially what we're trying to build here with these three classes.
Planets, moons, gases, all in orbit
Yeah.
of this, like universe
Yeah.
that we call mechatronics.
Yes, and because of that, like so, you're probably going to find, in particular with the panel class and the industrial programming class, that there's going to be some things that we kind of like. Maybe we append a conversation and say we will address this in the industrial programming class, or vice versa.
But it doesn't mean that it isn't immediately relatable.
It doesn't mean that it's not immediately relatable, and it doesn't mean that they're not connected to each other in the reality of
Right.
building systems, which will be apparent as you build the system.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And just for a clue on that one, we've got a prime example that we know of right now, and that is the trigonometry that we do for statics in the mechanical systems build class.
Yeah.
That is going to be used for AC circuits too.
Yeah. You will analyze the behavior of AC circuits with trigonometry.
With trigonometry, and like that's something that you're going to have the ability that, like, although it exists over in this mechanical systems build, it's going to be used over here.
Yeah. And so, and we will come back to it. We will come back to those kind of fundamental math skills that we're addressing in trigonometry. We may not use trigonometry explicitly in industrial programming, but we will certainly be using the algebraic equations that you guys are learning how to manipulate in those other two classes. We'll absolutely do that when we're in the industrial programming.
And the day
side.
will come when you have to use trigonometry in a PLC.
Yes,
motion
like,
control or
motion
something.
control or something like that. That's a little bit more of an advanced topic than what we're dealing with
This
this
quarter,
quarter,
but
that's coming as well.
That's going to happen
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah,
They all exist in all places at once.
yeah. At all points in time, it's just yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how else to say it. Like they all exist together simultaneously, and the skill is understanding how to navigate those intersections.
My God, it's full of stars.
It is. It is. So that's the panel systems class, I think. Is there anything else that we need to hit on this particularly?
I think we've hit on enough outside of it that
Okay, we probably
hit on
need-
what's inside of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
let's call it good here.
Yeah. You build panels in the panel systems class. That's the end of it.